Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online VGC 20 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In yesterday's episode, we featured a really interesting team with Stonjourner, so we'll be playing with it for a couple of more games. If you guys want to see more games with Stonjourner after this episode, I'm definitely down to play more with this team as well, so let me know in the comments below. And thank you guys as always for watching Road to Ranked. We're just going to jump into today's episode. We're up against some really interesting stuff to kick things off. There is a Musharna, which I actually haven't really seen at all, so that definitely is surprising to see, as well as the Appletun. To round it out, you've got, pretty offensive attackers in the Excadrill, the Conkeldurr, the Inteleon, and Rotom-W. So, kind of interesting because there's no Prankster user here. Normally, you see a lot of those Pokemon, especially like Inteleon, paired with Whimsicott or Grimmsnarl for fake tier stuff. So, I'm really curious how Musharna and Appletun kind of fit onto this team. How do I want to approach this? I think Dragapult's really good here. It can, as you can tell, my opponent doesn't have anything that resists Ghost. So we can launch some really powerful Max Phantasms off. And I think we'll probably want to Dynamax it. We could actually just go Dragapult and Stonjourner and just max and get a lot of damage up with Phantasm immediately. I'm actually kind of tempted to go with that. Now, the other alternative is lead something like Dragapult and, I don't know, maybe Rotom or the Incineroar for a Fake Out. I don't really like Fake Out that much here because I think Inteleon is the thing I'm most scared of. So I think I'm actually going to try leading Stonjourner and Dragapult, and in the back I think Rotom and Mimikyu are pretty good. Mimikyu actually has a really good matchup against a lot of my opponent's Pokemon. Okay, actually I locked in, but I think the one problem with what I brought here is that I'm really weak to Mold Breaker Excadrill, and it's likely that Excadrill on my opponent's team is going to be Mold Breaker. So for Excadrill alone, I probably should have brought Incineroar. So if I were to swap what I brought in this match, maybe not bring Rotom and bring Incineroar instead, just because Rotom really gets destroyed by the Excadrill, and it's slower as well. So we're gonna jump into it. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. And my question of the day, as I mentioned, always trying to find new songs, new albums. So what are you listening to this week? For me personally, there are a lot of good releases. I really like Dua Lipa's new album, and a bunch of other artists have released new albums as well, including Thundercat, Toki Monster, and Purity Ring. So there's a couple of artists I'm listening to right now, as well as Frank Ocean's new singles. Okay, Appletun and Musharna. I mean, those are the two most interesting things on my opponent's team. Okay. Kind of want to just Rock Slide, Max, and leaning towards Phantasming the Musharna, just because Trick Room could go up. And I'm more scared of Trick Room. I wonder if Max Wormwind KOs the Musharna with the boosts. I'm gonna just go for Phantasm here. I mean, I could have also just obviously Wormwinded into the Appletun. And this might be bad if Appletun is offensive enough to actually KO us, and it might be. I've Rock Slided here just because, we have a chance to flinch whatever doesn't Dynamax should the Appletun. I mean, I guess the flinch chance doesn't matter as much, but I don't really get too much mileage off Superpower. We are going to see a Dynamax. Oh, man. I wonder if it's Ally Switch as well on Musharna, although that might be the Pokeball Musharna is in. No, it is Dynamax. Wait. Is that... Oh, it is Appletun. I was going to say, why does it look so much like Flapple? Okay, so that is Dynamax Appletun. Okay. Let's see if Phantasm was able to just pick up the one-hit KO here. I imagine it will. Yeah, okay. I mean, Dragapult's really good against my opponent's entire team, but the question is right now, can Appletun just one-shot us? It might be able to. Well, let's also see how much damage we do with the defense drop here with single target Rock Slide. Not bad damage. That's around 35%. It is just going to be Max Wormwind. If this KOs us, we're in trouble. Okay, but we hang on. Alright, not bad. And we don't get an attack drop either on the Dragapult. Now, I'm worried about something... What item is that? Just lefties? Okay. That Appletun could still be a problem, though. Like I said, I'm really weak to Mold Breaker Excadrill. It could potentially be waiting in the back. So, despite turn 1 being alright, I think I should have brought Incineroar in this match. My opponent's going to actually bring out the Rotom here, though. Okay. So this next turn is pretty interesting, right? Because I should be able to one-shot either Pokemon with Dragapult, but anticipating a Max Guard or a Protect, I might actually just Rock Slide here and protect my Dragapult. Because I think here you have to know that Dragapult can one-hit KO either Pokemon, so you want to stall out my attack here, and a Rock Slide will actually do a good amount of damage here too. So yeah, I'm actually going to Rock Slide and Max Guard, mainly because I think here you might try to read into me attacking and try to protect one of your two Pokemon. And then I get a bait out of Max Guard or Protect here. But no Max Guards, no Protects. Stonjourner is faster though, so we just get a Rock Slide off first, which is good to confirm. Rotom actually Volt Switches into Stonjourner. Wow. Nice read. Okay. The fact we're faster is obviously a big deal though. If we don't get targeted here, I'm really impressed my opponent made that play. But it is Conkeldurr as the last one. Okay, that's really good news for us. Yeah, the fact it's Conkeldurr and not the Excadrill means I think we're in a better spot. Either way, this Appleton's actually exerting a ton of pressure. Yeah, I think I'm okay switching out into Mimikyu here and just going for a Max Warmwind onto the Appletun. It's a relatively obvious target, but I feel confident in winning with Mimikyu in the late game, given what my opponent's already shown, because it outspeeds everything. So even if we don't KO Appletun, I think we'll still be alright. And if it doesn't protect, then I think we just win the game this turn. Yep, okay, Mach Punch and no protect. Although I guess this might not KO. Let's see. It is Life Orb boosted, but okay, it's enough to KO. Well, I mean, yeah, ultimately, no Mold Breaker Excadrill made my life a lot easier. Once again, like, the combination of Dragapult plus Stonjourner just boosting its damage output is really nuts. And once again, like, Stonjourner is a pretty big offensive threat in itself, right? Like, we were able to do a lot of damage with Rock Slide. So, obviously used primarily for its ability, but I really like the offensive set with this team, too. You're able to just dish out so much damage across the board. So it's 4v2 now. Dynamax is ended on both ends, but we have Stonjourner and Rotom Wash in the back, and Stonjourner is Protect as well, so I think we're in a pretty good spot. I wonder if double Phantom Force KOs the Conkeldurr. Might be safer to just play Rough It and Phantom Force it. Or even Dragon Darts, I guess. No, I don't mind Phantom Forcing here. I mean, Rotom obviously beats my opponent's Rotom one-on-one. And since you can't Max Guard or Protect, sorry, more specifically, Protect a Phantom Force, like, I feel pretty good about that. And Play Rough connects too, so yeah, that should be the game. One question I actually have, and maybe you guys can answer it, is if I switched out Mimikyu into Stonjourner next turn and Stonjourner faints, I'm assuming I don't get the 1.3x boost on my partner, right? I don't know the exact interaction there. Good play on my opponent, though, to double up onto the Mimikyu. But no freeze, and that should seal up the game for us. Yeah, I'll just Shadow Sneak Conkeldurr to be safe, guarantee that KO. And obviously Rotom on my opponent's hand can 4v1, especially because we already have Stonjourner, which we know outspeeds. At this point, we don't even need to risk attacking, or sorry, risk missing any attacks. We can just go for, like, Thunderbolt and Assurance or whatever. Yeah, so we'll get the knockout onto Conkeldurr there. The Appletun was really interesting. I don't know. It didn't exert that much pressure, and because we were able to get rid of Musharna, which I think was probably going to want to Trick Room, we weren't really in immediate danger. I figured even if Musharna had the Ghost Resist Berry because of the Stonjourner and Life Orb, I figured we'd probably pick up the one-hit KO anyway. So, yeah, getting that turn 1 knockout was a really big deal. But we can just bring out the Rock now. And we don't even need to bother Rock Sliding. We can actually just Dragon Darts and Assurance. And both of those moves are 100% accurate. So, no need to risk missing. And you get to kind of see the cool interaction of the damage output from Assurance. Although Dragon Darts might KO if this doesn't have a berry. Let's see. That did so much damage. Yeah, it's not a berry. Huh. I wonder what item Rotom has, because it's not Choice Scarfed, it's not Citrus Berry, it's not... I mean, I guess it could be Spexed. We couldn't tell based off the damage against Stonjourner, because that has such a bad base special defense, but... Yeah, either way, once again, the Dragapult Stonjourner lead works really nicely, where it just exerts so much pressure. The two things I was actually most afraid of in this battle were Inteleon, just because if you max Airstream us, you can't outspeed the Dragapult the following turn. And obviously, Stonjourner has really bad special defense. And then Mold Breaker Excadrill, but neither of those actually ended up coming out. So, given the leads, I think we had a really, really good position. So, yeah, pretty happy about how that played out. I do think it might have been more advantageous for me to bring in Incineroar in this matchup, though, because, like I said, I was really, really weak to Excadrill, given what I brought. So, for example, in a best of 3, I think my opponent would consider bringing the Excadrill in game 2, and I'd definitely make the adjustment of bringing my Incineroar. We're up against a Lapras team, so pretty standard stuff with Lapras, Alchemy, Raichu, and then you've got Dusclops and Rhyperior. Kind of reminds me of my old Lapras team, although this one is Alchemy and the Corviknight over the Excadrill. So, let's see. This could actually be a decent game for... I was going to say Milotic, mainly because we can Max Quake boost up, but I don't know how much I like that. Obviously, the main thing that's exerting damage here is going to be the Lapras. Or not damage. Rhyperior is the main offense here, but Lapras and Alchemy obviously could be very problematic as well. So we could lead Dragapult and Stonjourner. I'm trying to like think of all the combinations. The problem is obviously Rotom is really good, but in order for Rotom to really pull stuff off, we would need to knock out the Raichu first. And that might be easier said than done. Incineroar is really not that great here other than for Parting Shot and Fake Out. That alone could be enough reason to bring it. I'm really not the biggest fan of Mimikyu here because I assume my opponent will be able to set up screens. So I'm thinking maybe Milotic actually. So we could maybe try out Stonjourner Dragapult as a lead with our 2 water types in the back. These water types deal with Dusclops pretty well. And if Lapras doesn't have... Nah, I guess Lapras still hits us pretty hard with Freeze Drive. Mimikyu did have Wood Hammer and Expert Belt. So there was reason to bring it. Incineroar, like... I don't know, just not the biggest fan of, but mainly because it doesn't really do any damage for us here, but it could still be worth it. This is a game where I think we could have argued for all of the Pokemon. Maybe Lapras Raichu as a lead, though, okay. So this is interesting because turn 1, do you go for the Fake Out onto Stonjourner, or do you just maybe activate your Weakness Policy immediately and try to KO my Dragapult? And I also wonder... Does a Rock Slide and a Max Phantasm KO the Lapras? Because Phantasm is boosted by Life Orb. We should be faster with both of these. I mean, I really don't think you risk the... I would double up onto Stonjourner here, I think, if I'm my opponent. I really want to protect. But if I protect and they just knock out Dragapult turn 1, I think I just lose the game. So I'm just going to go full offense turn 1. I'm going to go for a Phantasm and a Rock Slide. And if Raichu actually self-targets Lapras, we just win turn 1, I think. But this is kind of risky. I mean, the worst case here is you KO Stonjourner with Fake Out and G-Max Resonance, which I think is decently likely. So I was very close to protecting the Stonjourner, but if my opponent reads into that and you self-target yourself with Self-Brick Break, activate Weakness Policy, and then Lapras one-shots Dragapult, like I think it would just lose the game turn 1. At least right now, if you go for the self-target, I think we just KO the Lapras. So the main thing is I need to get more than 1 turn out of Dragapult, and given my lead, I think this is probably the better play, but once again, we could just lose Stonjourner for nothing. Or I shouldn't say for nothing, because it would still get its damage boost this turn. And that in itself might be enough. Alright, let's see. Yeah, he does go for the Fake Out. Alright, nice play. So we very much could have played around that, but like I said, did not want to take that risk. Look how much damage Phantasm does, though. Over 50%. That's crazy. And let's see who Lapras targets here. It is going to be... And we're faster, so good to confirm that. It's actually just going to be Max Geyser. That's actually pretty important, because that means my opponent doesn't set up screens. I honestly wonder if Max Geyser would have KO'd through Protect, because Stonjourner special defense is so bad. Either way, yeah, I'll take that turn 1. Like I said, if my opponent gambled a little bit, we just win immediately. And if I protect there and they make a really hard read, then we just lose turn 1. And I don't think that risk was worth it. So it's honestly fine by me. Because we can bring in Milotic or Rotom. We've got Nasty Plot on Rotom, so we can actually kind of just bring in Rotom this turn. And I think just Nasty Plot up. That being said, I kind of expect my opponent to maybe Max Guard and Nuzzle the Dragapult. So I kind of want a Nasty Plot here and Max Guard Dragapult. Because I'm expecting... You know how much we're doing already with Phantasm. Yeah, I'm going to go for that. You know, my opponent could read into that. But Lapras doesn't threaten Rotom that much offensively. I guess unless you self-Volt Switch or Brick Break yourself and you target Raichu. But yeah, there's Max Guard. Perfect. Okay, exactly as planned. And there's Nuzzle. Beautiful. Okay, so that played out how I expected it to. And with Nasty Plot, I'm actually thinking of max airstreaming the Lapras and Dark Pulsing it. I'm assuming that's enough to KO with the defense drop. Maybe that's a little risky. The other question is what item the Raichu has. I'm thinking it's AV. I just don't want my opponent to get screens up because I think Rotom-Milotic can clean this game up relatively easily for me. So I think it's safer to just Phantasm Lapras and Dark Pulse the Raichu. I really want to Airstream though, but does Rotom really need to outspeed anything on my opponent's end other than Raichu? No, not really. So let's just play it safe. Let's just Dark Pulse and Phantasm. I mean, you could go for a double protect with Lapras. That might be my opponent's play actually. Okay, but they don't go for it. Nice. So reading into that Nuzzle play was really big. We're going to be able to pick up a 2-hit KO on Lapras, which is beautiful. Like, that is so sick. And the best thing here is that my opponent wasn't able to get screens up. And I think that's like the biggest deal. Because screens would make it a lot tougher to KO whatever is in the back. But that's Dynamax over on my opponent's end. They didn't really get that much mileage off Lapras, so I'll take that. I also could have doubled up onto Raichu, but if I double up, because I don't know the item, and I can't Thunderbolt safely in this position. This Dark Pulse will tell me if it's AV or Sash, though. Alright, that looks like Assault Vest. So we could have Phantasm Thunderbolted, just pick up a double KO, but if Raichu is Focus Sash, which I guess, like, given what my opponent brought, and given that there's an Alchemy on the team, it's likely Alchemy has Sash, but it could be, for example, Babiri Berry on that. So what I really didn't want is Phantasm into Raichu, try to Thunderbolt, have it be Focus Sash Raichu, and then Thunderbolt gets redirected, because then I really don't get too much off that turn. But Dusclops comes in, which is good to see. So we're in a really good spot right now. Presumably my opponent's last one is going to be the Rhyperior, but we're exerting so much offensive pressure right now. You obviously can't put the Rotom to sleep either. Sorry, not sleep. Paralysis. We have Milotic in the back. I think I just want to KO Dusclops, so I'm actually just going to Dark Pulse here and Phantom Force. Rhyperior obviously is still a threat. Let me think. Because what I could do is Hydro Pump the Raichu, saying, hey, you're going to Volt Switch out into Rhyperior, but my opponent either Volt Switches, makes the hard play. Dark Pulse also gives us a flinch chance. And we'd KO Dusclops the following turn. Yeah, I'm not going to target Raichu here. Because I think you might hope for me to KO your Raichu. And if Raichu stays in and doesn't Volt Switch, we win the game. But it Volt Switches. Okay. I guess that was my opponent's really only... I don't know. Like, if I Hydro Pump and I hit that slot, the game is instantly over. Assuming your last one is Rhyperior, which it should be. But we still have Milotic and Rain is up. Plus, we'll get a Dark Pulse and a Life Orb Phantom Force off. So, it's not the end of the world, but kind of frustrating because we had a chance of just winning outright there. If we also flinched the Dusclops, we just went outright. And we do over 50%, which is quite nice. Alright. No para. That's good. And there's Trick Room. Yeah, I mean, this is still scary because you Bulldoze here, right? But with Milotic in the back, it is Milo and Rain against Rhyperior. Okay, I should have just Hydro Pump. I thought if I'm my opponent, I would play safe there and not risk the switch in there because Rotom exerts so much pressure, but my opponent made the right call. I think I have to sack the Rotom here. This could get really dicey if I get fully paralyzed next turn. Oh, Rhyperior protects. Well, that's no weakness policy activation then. Unless we get fully paralyzed. But if we don't get fully paralyzed, we should just win this game this turn. Let's see. I should have just Hydro Pumped Rhyperior though. Okay, nice. I mean, the thing is, if I Hydro Pump... Oh, you could still self-Brick Break. No. You can't self-Brick Break yourself because Raichu's so slow under Trick Room. So what I was going to say is, if I Hydro Pump there and the Raichu does stay in, then that gives my opponent a free switch into Rhyperior, plus I don't KO Dusclops without the Dark Pulse damage. Rain does end. It is 3v2 now. Raichu, we know, has the Assault Vest. We've seen Fake Out. We've seen Volt Switch. We've seen Nuzzle. So that shouldn't have too much offense. And we've got the Milotic waiting in the back as well. So I think here you probably just Fake Out Rock Slide. That would make the most sense. And I think I just wait for the free switch into Milotic. There's still multiple turns of Trick Room. I might actually protect the Dragapult. But you could self-Brick Break yourself here and not go for Fake Out. Maybe just hope for flinches at this point. Actually, I'd rather knock out Raichu, so it's a... Yeah. I'm just going to Dragon Darts and Dark Pulse here. I'm still not used to Dragon Darts. Like, yeah, you like select one of two Pokemon, which is weird. Dragapult actually avoids the Rock Slide, so we've got a lot of RNG going our way in these last couple of days. And that might actually be Life Orb, which would make sense. Yep, it is. Okay. And we don't get fully paralyzed. So I think this KOs Raichu. If it does, that should just be GG. Okay, nice. That was obviously a big dodge, because if you hit that, I don't think you KO Dragapult, but you have a very good chance of flinching or paralyzing. And because it was Life Orb, Muddy Water wasn't, I don't think KO. This is Wise Last as Milotic, so I'm actually not sure. It would have been close. But I think here, there's still 2 turns of Trick Room. Muddy Water should just pick up the KO. This is still scary because it's not 100% accurate. But with 2 turns of Trick Room, actually, maybe we're safe to just double Ice Beam. Yeah, Ice Beam, Protect, and then Ice Beam again. I think that should be enough to KO Rhyperior. And I'm actually going to Protect... Actually, I don't mind Phantom Forcing. I think you have to Rock Slide here. Yeah. Okay, so that double connects. Let's see if... Oh, Milotic takes a lot, but not over half, which is the key thing here. Okay, nice. Yeah, I really didn't want to risk Muddy Water misses here, and I'm pretty sure Ice Beam is a 2-hit KO. Oh, never mind. With Glasses, it's actually just a 1-hit KO. Nice. Okay, so we got a little lucky towards the end of this game. I could have just ended it by Hydro Pumping Raichu, but like I said, if I were in my opponent's shoes, I'd actually stay in with Raichu because, like, if you just swap in Rhyperior and it eats up a Hydro Pump, you lose the game instantly. Whereas even if you stay in with Raichu, at least you have some like more positions to pivot, and because Raichu is actually the slowest Pokemon under Trick Room, you can get a guaranteed switch into Rhyperior relatively safely. Alright, we're going to find our third opponent of the day, getting into this final match now. Let's see what they've got. Whoa, Umbreon, that's cool. And Goodra, that's pretty cool as well. Very excited to go up against this, actually. For better or for worse. This is very scary, but I think there's a lot of cool Pokemon on my opponent's team, so it's always fun to go up against neat Pokemon. So Umbreon is primarily used for, you know, bulky supports. You use like Snarl, Foul Play, Helping Hand, and it is just kind of a nuisance to take care of. You know, you can run like max HP, max defense, which can actually give us a lot of trouble. So I think the thing that I'm most scared of here is definitely the Goodra. So the 4 Pokemon I'm looking at primarily are Stonjourner, Dragapult, Rotom, and Mimikyu. My opponent's team is almost entirely special, so there's very little reason to bring in Incineroar other than Fake Out. But my opponent also has that Milotic, and I really don't want to activate it competitive. Anytime you bring in Incineroar, like even if you don't lead it and your opponent has a Milotic in the back, it's just so much more awkward to switch in at any given point. So probably not going to want to bring that. We could bring our own Milotic, but Goodra is, you know, really defensive, and often it even carries weakness policy. So I think the best course of action is just to go with the 4 I mentioned. The question is just in what order. I think I still like leading Dragapult here. It exerts so much offensive pressure. But I'm actually thinking of Rotom as a partner. Mainly because if I get a nasty plot off, this Rotom could really sweep through. So by leading Dragapult Rotom, I can basically pivot out and switch into Stonjourner on turn 1, or I could maybe just set up with Rotom immediately. It's very dependent on what my opponent leads with. And if they go with Togekiss, for example, maybe we just max Dragapult and we can just like double up on a Togekiss with, yeah, actually I was gonna say Phantasm and a Thunderbolt probably. So we'll see. I'm kind of oh, okay. Milotic Umbreon. I gotta say I did not expect that, honestly. I think this isn't too bad for us though. Because this is actually the exact position Rotom wants to be in terms of getting a nasty plot off. Like, Umbreon might Snarl us, Milo might Icy Wind, but I think that's still fine. Turn 1, I actually think I want to just protect, scout out for what my opponent wants to go for, and just go for a nasty plot immediately. And then what we can do turn 2 is just switch out the Dragapult. It's going to be Dynamax Milotic, okay. What we can do is switch out the Dragapult into Stonjourner and just go for a Max Lightning onto Milotic. Now, I'm expecting a Snarl, so it'll only be a +1, so you might not even want to nasty plot with Rotom twice. But yeah, the thing is, I let Stonjourner Dragapult, Dragapult's attacks, or max attacks, will activate competitive, which we don't want. So we'll have the Dynamax advantage in this game too, which is obviously good. And yep, there's Max Hailstorm. Okay. So it's going to go into Dragapult. I'm expecting Life Orb, honestly. A lot of Milotics that are offensive in Dynamax turn 1 are often Life Orbed. So let's see. It's going to set up Hail, but that's fine by me. Yep, there's the Life Orb. So we'll get the first nasty plot off. And I mean, maybe we just go for a second nasty plot, honestly. That could work. Snarl? Ah, taunt. Well, might be Stonjourner time, guys. Now, one play my opponent can obviously make is Max Guard Milotic. Yeah, it's actually a decently likely play, I think. It's not lefties Umbreon, which is interesting. I mean, I could just max Dragapult here too, right? Like, I could max Dragapult, but I think we should max Rotom. Like, I really want to switch into Stonjourner, max, and just max Lightning the Milotic. I could also do the same play and target Umbreon. That might just KO too. But then I won't have the damage output, but then I'll have Mimikyu, so maybe I just read... Oops. Yeah. I mean, I just really want to see Rotom just one-shot a Dynamax Pokemon. That's my main... But I guess you could also switch in the... Raichu. So, yeah. Because of the threat of Raichu, I think I'm just going to go into Stonjourner, but just go for Max Geyser. And once we stall out Dynamax... Yep, okay, there's a switch out. Into Umbreon? Or sorry, into Raichu, yeah. Problem here is that if it is Focus Sashed, we're not KOing because we're going to change the weather. So we could have maxed Darkness Umbreon, but that's like a really aggressive read, I think. Part of me wanted to go for a second Nasty Plot. Oh no, we got taunted. We couldn't have gone for that, yeah. I was thinking maybe making that play before this turn happened, but we'll get Rotom out. If my opponent also Hailstorms again, I actually will take this trade off. I think that's fine. Quakes. He's faster too. Okay, I didn't expect that. Well, that's bad. But the thing is that Rotom will beat Milotic 1v1. I don't care how many boosts you get. You also have one less turn of Dynamax. The sad thing is that Stonjourner is going to go down here, but I'm glad at least I Max Geyser, because Max Lightning here would have been really bad for us. Let's see if this KOs. Ah, it's not Focus Sash. That's Assault Vest. Alright, so that's the, the increase in damage output from Stonjourner, because I'm assuming that's AV. And that was it would have been +1 Spadef against +2 Rotom, but presumably AV. So that's actually a really big turn. I'm very happy about that. Because keeping Stonjourner around for those damage boosts is, I think, actually really important. Especially with Umbreon coming out. I think here I'm actually just going to swap out Stonjourner. I mean, we could stay in too, right? We've got Mimikyu in the back, so I feel pretty confident about this match right now. And we have an extra turn of Dynamax with Rotom too, which is excellent for us. Max Lightning into Milotic is relatively free. We could Geyser into Umbreon. I think you probably Max Quake again. With the Milotic. And I guess Dragapult, having even Dragon Darts is pretty solid for us. So, honestly, I don't mind just going for an attack here. Yeah, just going for a Rock Slide and a Max Lightning into Milotic. Because Umbreon obviously doesn't pressure us with damage very much. And Stonjourner is actually going to be the fastest thing here. That's actually solid damage on a Milotic. Even after Max Quick, I think Max Lightning KOs. Let's see. Yeah, and the main thing is because I know Dragapult outspeeds everything on my opponent's team, and Stonjourner... Actually, Stonjourner outspeeds a lot of things too, but Dragapult I wanted to conserve in the case that there is Goodra in the back. Because Goodra could be a little bit more annoying to deal with. But even with the 2 Quake boosts... Actually, I mean, I don't think Max Lightning KOs now, and we probably also get Snarled, but most importantly, Dynamax ends now. Yeah, doesn't KO Milotic, but that's fine. Because now we just get the free switch into Dragapult. And we can just double KO. Nice. So I'm very happy about how this game played out, ultimately. It's just going to be a foul play, actually. No Snarl, which is surprising, but I'll definitely take that. As now we get the free switch into Dragapult. And we can very freely just go for a Dragon Darts Thunderbolt. And I think that might be a double KO. Even if not, I've got Mimikyu. I just don't want to bring Mimikyu out right now because I haven't revealed my last Pokemon yet. I want to first find out what my opponent's last one is. And in this position, I actually think Dragapult is better to bring in because of the threat of Dragon Darts. So with an extra turn of Dynamax, this is pretty free. We can just Dragon Darts here and go for a Geyser into... Let's make sure we target Milotic here. And just Max Geyser. And I don't think any 4th Pokemon in the back can save my opponent from this position because we have the speed advantage. Which is why I really, wanted to still bring Dragapult. And this is one of the unique cases where we actually didn't Dynamax it, but you can see, once again, Stonjourner's, Milotic switches out, which is interesting. Into Goodra, okay, that's not going to be great for my opponent. That's exactly why I wanted to conserve the Dragapult, and why I didn't switch out last turn, too. So I wonder if it's weakness policy, but even... Oh my goodness, yeah, I mean, Dragon Darts just KOs everything at this point, and it wasn't weakness policy, so yeah. You know, you could have protect my Milotic there, but my opponent was maybe hoping that I would max Lightning into that slot, presumably. It's probably AV Goodra, if I had to guess. Actually, no, we saw the... Raichu didn't have Focus Sash, so I would think that as AV, but then Goodra didn't have weakness policy either. So I'm wondering what the items were on this team. Normally, Goodra and Raichu are both Pokemon that... Like, Raichu almost always runs Focus Sash or AV, I think. You could run Fling, I guess, as well, like Fling King's Rock or something like that. But, yeah, normal Dragapult right now actually just closes out this game. So, you know, the main thing here is that Milotic was really scary, but the thing is that, like, in Team Preview, they didn't seem to be very much on my opponent's team to deal with Rotom, and because of their lead, after a Nasty Plot, this Rotom was very difficult to take care of. Like, our Berry didn't even end up getting activated. Let me make sure. Actually, it doesn't matter if you protect whatever, darts just get redirected anyway. So, yeah, we can just Dragon Darts, Dark Pulse. And I think having Mimikyu in the back was going to easily close this one out for us. So, yeah, very nice. Dragon Darts is going to easily pick up the double KO here. And I think Goodra was actually probably the Pokemon I was more afraid of facing, because if you Dynamax the Goodra, my Rotom doesn't have a very good matchup. But that's why I led with Dragapult and Rotom. I think the combination of that exerted so much pressure against my opponent. And that team wasn't really well equipped to deal with both of them. Perhaps Arcanine could have put on a little bit of pressure because it at least outspeeds Rotom, has Snarl, but kind of was surprised to see the Umbreon not Snarl at any point. And, you know, the taunt could have been scary if it was faster than Rotom, but obviously it wasn't, so we were able to still just get that Nasty Plot off immediately and then go from there. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this episode, though. Another couple of really great games with the Stonjourner team. I think I want to play one more episode with it tomorrow because I really enjoyed the team, and I think we haven't showed like all its true potential yet, especially with Mimikyu, because we've been primarily Dynamaxing with Dragapult. But I've been enjoying playing with the team a lot, and hope you guys have been enjoying the games. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching. This is a rental team, so if you want to try out the team, check out the links in the description below. As I mentioned, I'm streaming more on Twitch as well, so hopefully catch you at a future stream at twitch.tv/CybertronVGC. I'm also going to be helping Wolfie and A-Drive commentate their tournament, the Champions Cup, tomorrow, so that'll be exciting. I'll probably be primarily on A-Drive's Twitch channel, so hopefully see some of you guys there. And thanks for watching, as always. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Go answer that question today. Give me your music recs for this week, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, peace.